Hi guys. So for today's video, I am going to be doing my October/fall TBR. Some of these books I do plan to read in October, and that first one, if you guys have been watching any of my videos recently, this will be no surprise. It would be continuing the Dresden Files series by Jim Butcher. This series follows a wizard detective in our world. It's told in first person. It's hilarious, and I think it fits really well with October just because there's like vampires and werewolves and things like that in these books, so I feel like it's fitting for October. Plus, I'm absolutely in love with this series. Every time I finish one of them, I just want to pick up the next one, so I have to keep going with this. Continuing with books that I'm hoping to get around to in October, that next one would be Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Stormlight Archive. I'm currently like trekking my way through the giant first book. I know this is actually half of the second book. They're split up, the UK editions are split up. So this is actually only half of Words of Radiance, but I really want to read Words of Radiance before Oathbringer comes out in November, which is another book that I've got on my fall TBR. This is epic fantasy, so there are a lot of characters, and the plot is somewhat vague. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what the plot is, but a brief summary: there are these weapons, these kind of mystical, magical weapons called shard blades, and then there's shard plate, which is the same thing, but it's like the armor version of it. And most of the characters currently are kind of revolved around those mystical things. It's kind of hard. I mean, there's so much more to the books than that, but because it's epic fantasy and there's so many characters, every character has their own plot line, so it's hard to narrow it down specifically, but it's Brandon Sanderson, so it's great. Keeping with the Brandon Sanderson books, I also plan on getting around to the second era Mistborn books. You guys know I love the first trilogy of Mistborn. I just think it's so good. So I really want to get around to this second era. I've heard that it's more fun than the first trilogy. The first trilogy is really intense. The ending is like, it's great and it's glorious, but it's heartbreaking. And I've heard that these ones are kind of like, almost like buddy cop type feel to them. They're just kind of these two guys and, you know, with Mistborn type magic. And in the Wild West kind of a feel. So, very different than the first one, first trilogy, but I'm all on board. Next up is a book that I only recently got, and I got it because I was sick and my husband felt bad and wanted to buy me a book. So he like took me to the bookstore, and I was gonna get another Jim Butcher book because that series is super long. But then I saw this book and I was like, that looks so bizarre. I like have to have it. And it's called Strange Practice by Vivian Shaw. It's about a girl who inherits her family's specialized business of treating monsters like mummies and banshees and stuff. This just seems like the perfect book to read in October. It just sounds so quirky and weird and peculiar, but just, I don't know, kind of fun. I just am excited for it. I've not heard anyone really talk about it before, but it just seems so strange that it's perfect for October. Next up is another book that seems just so perfect for October. I took the sleeve off, so I'm sorry, I'll show you the spine, but that would be Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I know the sequel just recently came out, and it's about an assassin, and I love the assassin trope. I know it's been done before so many times, and I don't care. I love it. It's one of those, like, if there's all those videos, like bookish buzzwords, if you hear a certain word or something in a synopsis, you're gonna want that book, and assassin is it for me. I love books about assassins, and I've heard really good things about this book, so, you know, assassins, it's October, awesome. Next up is a book that I got in one of my subscription boxes. It's the Bookie Box subscription box that has been started by another booktuber named Julia over at That Bookie, whose channel I'll link down below. She's great, and I was so excited for her because in her very first box she got the Wonder Woman book by Leigh Bardugo, and one of my little nieces who's going to be in town, this is pre-recorded, she'll be in town by the time this video goes up, but she like dressed up for Wonder Woman or something for one of her birthday parties, and it just seemed like she dressed up as Wonder Woman. I got this Wonder Woman book. Just seems like I should read it. Speaking of Leigh Bardugo, I read Six of Crows forever ago, and I did enjoy it, but I think I was frustrated because there was just so much hype at the time that I read it surrounding it, and I just decided to wait a little bit before I picked up Crooked Kingdom. So I finally plan on reading Crooked Kingdom. This is still Six of Crows. I just grabbed this one off my shelf. But this is it's a heist story, the first one is, and it ends on a cliffhanger, and it's just a duology, so I'd like to finish it before the year's up. I don't want to forget everything that happened in this first book, so planning on getting around to this one also. Okay, so a second ago I was talking about assassins and how I love the assassin trope, and big surprise, I have another book on my list that I want to get around to that has to follow assassins, and it is called Dance of Cloaks by David Dalglish. I've not heard anybody talk about this book. I don't know why. Multiple books in the series are already out. It has fantastic reviews when you look up the reviews, but I've never seen anybody talk about it. So a couple of you guys, I've mentioned it on my channel before, and a couple of you have mentioned that you've started it and you're really liking it, so that is just even more encouragement for me to finally get around to it. And I know a few of you want to buddy read it with me, so excited for this. I don't know too much about the plot, but I have the second and third one because I got them at used bookstores, so if I really like it, I can just jump right into the next one. Also, how cool is this cover? Speaking of great covers, another book I want to get around to is Frost Blood by Ellie Blake. I just think that this seems like the perfect book to pick up in December when it starts getting cold, which takes a while in Arizona to happen, but I love this cover. I know it has nothing to do with the book or the content, but I just think this cover is so beautiful. I'm such a sucker for these like kind of simple whitish bluish covers. Those colors just always get me. But anyway, this is a story about a girl who has fire magic in a world where people are only supposed to have, or is it opposite? Yeah, no, that's right. She has fire magic in a world where everybody just has ice magic, and just her existence is like a crime. So it sounds like a really interesting story. It's not the most unique, but I like that plot idea, and I know she already has a couple of the next books out, so again, if I really like it, I can get the next ones and just keep going. Next up, I have the book King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. This is the third book in the Red Queen series, which I've read the first two, obviously, and I enjoyed them. I think that they, for some reason, people either seem to like love them and think they're amazing, or they hate them and just say that they're filled with so many YA tropes, which surprises me because there are some, but honestly, I'm surprised that that book has been picked on for having YA tropes, because there are some other ones I've read that are way, way worse. And not worse like the quality of the book is bad, I just mean with the amount of tropes in them. But anyway, I liked the story, and I've heard that this third one is quite good. I know Julia over at That Bookie is wanting to pick this up, and I really want to buddy read it with her, and I just want to keep going with the series because, again, like Six of Crows, I don't want to forget everything I already read. Next up, I have the book Dividing Eden. Sorry, I take the sleeves off of a lot of my books because I think they just look prettier that way on my shelf. But anyway, I don't know a ton about this book. I picked it up and the plot was really vague. It said something about like fulfilling a prophecy and things like that, and it just seemed really interesting and kind of strange, and the cover is really pretty on the sleeve, so that might have influenced me to get it a little bit. But anyway, I know a couple of you have been wanting to buddy read this with me ever since I mentioned it, so I'm hoping to get around to this finally because it sounds pretty good. And lastly, I have some comic books that I'm wanting to get around to, one of which is Fables by Bill Willingham. I started this and loved it. I love it so much, but I haven't gotten around to it recently, and I really want to pick it back up. My husband and I have recently been converting to these beautiful hardbacks. We had the paperbacks before. Somebody turned in pretty much all of the hardbacks at our local used bookstore, so we've slowly been accumulating store credit and then exchanging them and swapping them out. But this follows a bunch of fairy tale people, and they come into New York City glamored to look like humans for those of the characters that don't look like humans already. And the two main characters are Snow from Snow White and the big bad wolf named Bigby. This was the very first, or one of the very first comics I ever picked up. I absolutely love it. I can't recommend it enough, so I'm so excited to hopefully finally get back into reading them. And lastly, because it just fits the whole Halloween vibe, I really want to read American Vampire by Scott Snyder. This follows vampires, big surprise. But some of the vampires are like really, really terrible people, and you're kind of rooting for this one character who's pretty much the only decent person. But my husband has read the first few and he says they're really good. He says they're really violent, but I think it just seems super fitting to read this in October like a lot of the other books that I've picked up, so hopefully I can get around to this one. That's it though. As always, if you guys are interested in buddy reading any of these books, let me know. I would love to buddy read with you guys. Just let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you want to read any of these. But anyway, if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you get notified when I post new videos, and check out some of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.